All right, so this is an update of the Lesson 3 Gallery of Data notes. So if you have already a printed copy of this, this will have some similarities to it. We are using a set of data that is in that, but it is going to also have some new information to update for today. So it's all going to be practice today, so this is a bit of a review, and so we'll see how we do. So students in a math class were surveyed about the furthest distance in miles they have ever traveled from home. Here were their responses. So you have a list of 20 numbers there. If you count them all up, 50, 50, 50, 100, 200, 200, 250, there are 20 numbers and therefore 20 students that we are working with here. So the first thing that we did in the unit was just a basic review of how to do mean and median and mode. So let's start off with the mean. So mean, remember, is the average. So average. And we know that the mean or the average is found by adding up the numbers and dividing by how many there are. So 50 plus 50 plus 50 plus 100 and so on and so forth. If you add up all of those numbers, we get 8,850. And divide by how many there are, so divide by 20. And if you do that, you get 442.5. So that is the average amount of miles that students said that they had been away from home in this class. All right, then we have the mode. All right, the mode, remember, is the most common or most frequent. Most frequent or repeated. Most frequent or repeated number. So let's look at our list here. We've got 350s. Let's see what else. We've got 3 100s. It looks like the most common one is the 500s, right? We have actually 6 of those. So the most common or most repeated number would be 500. All right, now the next part here, I'm going to group together, and this is our 5-number summary that we have done in the previous investigation, the previous notes. And so let's think back to what we were doing there. All right, so if we have the numbers in order from least to greatest, we should be able to do the 5-number summary. And we'll note here that we have a minimum of 50. And we'll note we have a maximum of 2,000. So that's what I would start with. And then, remember, what we do is we think about what the median is next. So we'll do the median of the overall group. Now, there are 20 numbers here, which means that the median is going to fall between the middle 2 numbers, because it's an even amount of numbers. 20 is an even number, so it's going to fall between the middle 2 numbers. If there's 20 numbers, it's going to fall between the 10th and the 11th number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the median is between the 300 and the 300. So remember, if it's between those, we just take the average of the middle 2. We take the average of the 2 around it. So 300 plus 300 divided by 2 is still just 300. 600 divided by 2. So the median is 300. And then quartile 1, or the lower quartile, remember, we take the median of the first half of the data. So we take the median of those. In this case, there are 10 numbers there. So if we look at the median of that half, again, since there's 10 numbers, that's an even amount of numbers. So it falls between the middle 2 numbers, which would be between the 5th and the 6th number. So between the two 200s here would be our Q1. So remember, between those two 200s there, 200 plus 200 divided by 2 is still just 200. So lower quartile is 200. And the same thing for the upper quartile, or Q3, quartile 3. We take the median of the top half of the data. Again, there are 10 numbers in that top half, so the median is going to be between the 5th and the 6th number of that group. So it's going to be between these 500s here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's between these two 500s. So that would be Q3. And once again, It's just the average then of those ones that are right around it between those two 500s. 500 plus 500 divided by 2, of course, is still just 500. All right, so we have our 5-number summary now. And once we have that, and we can make our box plot, which we'll do in a few minutes here. Let's see, the range. Remember, the range is the maximum, oops, let's do it right here, maximum minus the minimum. All right, so from max to the min would be equal to 2,000 minus 50, which would be 1,950. So this has a very large range of answers here that students gave about how far they had been away from home. We had a kind of an outlier there of 2,000, and then some people that had only been 50 miles away from home. So that's a large range. Remember, the interquartile range is the range between the quartiles. So in this case, the range between Q3 and Q1. So Q3 minus Q1 is the interquartile range. And in this case, Q3 was 500, and the lower quartile was 200. So 500 minus 200 is 300. So that was a range of 300 between the quartiles. All right, so now let's go through and make the